Hello, explorers, and welcome to Reach the World's Explorer program. For more than 25 years, Reach the World has sparked student curiosity, bringing real-world adventure, fresh perspectives, and global career paths into K-12 classrooms through virtual exchange. My name is Tim, and today we continue one of our most thrilling adventures to date with veterinary surgeon Dr. Johan Marais and his team at Saving the Survivors in South Africa. On our first live video call with Dr. Marais, we learned about his childhood, his early experiences with wildlife in Namibia and South Africa, and how he came to start Saving the Survivors. After that, he ran off to give an elephant an x-ray, as veterinarians do, and you have read a little bit about that in some of his most recent Reach the World articles. And now today, he's joining us again live from South Africa to introduce us to one of his very, very special neighbors. If you are new to this virtual exchange, please be sure to check out the links in the chat on the right-hand side of your screen. They'll take you to Reach the World's homepage for our Saving the Survivors program, where you can find all Dr. Marais' articles to date, his upcoming articles, and recordings from the past live stream events. Very special thanks to the Infinite Safari Foundation for making this program cost-free for all participating classrooms. Thank you. We are thrilled to have several school groups joining us live today, and I want you all thinking about questions you'd like to ask Dr. Marais. As soon as you meet his extra special guest, I know you'll have a lot of questions, and we'll give you a chance to get answers later in the session. I have to give a few quick shout outs to some Reach the World classrooms in the audience. We have Falmouth Elementary in Maine. Hi, Falmouth. Stony Lane School in New Jersey. Roberta Road Middle School in North Carolina. Satsup Elementary in Washington State. Hamilton Elementary, Rhode Island, and maybe getting the award for joining us from the furthest away today, Bluff Point Primary School in Western Australia. So we are all over the world today. That is enough introductions, I think. I think it's ready for us to use the magic of virtual exchange to connect all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, down the length of the African continent, and join emergency wildlife veterinarian Dr. Johan Marais on his farm in South Africa. I'm going to bring him onto the stage so we can say hi to Dr. Marais. Hi, Dr. Marais.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Tim. And a special welcome to the teachers and all the students. I'm so glad you guys could join me.
It is wonderful to be able to connect with you in what I know is a very, very hot day in South Africa today. Can you tell us where you are right now?
So currently we are in the most northern part of South Africa. It is a province called Limpopo. So where I stand, we are probably about 100 kilometers south of the border with Zimbabwe.
All right, excellent. And it is a toasty day today. You are out braving the heat to introduce us to one of your neighbors. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. So we're here in quite a special camp of about 400 hectares. And let me just take you guys to the special rhino. We made a camp here of about 300 hectares specifically for this rhino, which I'll tell you more about just now. He's called Seha. It's short for Seha, which means, I think you guys can see him behind me, which means have mercy on us. Let me just swing my phone for you guys and you can see him properly. Tim, let me know if you guys can see him.
We can see great, Dr. Marais. It's a great view. Thank you.
Right. So, and there in the background, you can see, some of his companions, which is cows and calves. So Seha has a very special story. He was unfortunately poached on a farm quite about probably 400 or 500 kilometers from here in 2016. And at that time, there were several rhino which they poached like him. The normal would be at that stage is to shoot the rhino and try and kill him, and then just hack off the horn where the horn meets the skin. Unfortunately, with him, they removed much more than that. and you can still see the remains of that wound even several years after the the poaching incident. He had more than 30 operations so far, and currently I must say he's actually doing really well. He's already sired a calf. He's quite a happy rhino. You'll be seeing that I actually look behind me every now and then because he's got a funny habit of sneaking up on you. He is a bit accustomed to people, but he's still a wild rhino, so he can still injure you if he wants to, even though he hasn't got a horn. But he's a testament of what we as humans and veterinarians can do to correct the wrongs that other people do.
Oh, thank you for sharing that story of Seha. We've, previewed the introduction of Seha as sort of one of your success stories, one of the reasons that you started Saving the Survivors, to help, wild animals like Seha recover from these awful tragedies that happen to them through poaching and otherwise. And you mentioned that Seha's had almost 30 surgeries.
That's correct.
I see him creeping up on you.
Yeah, he's sneaking up on me. Sorry. I just had to get out of the way there.
Are those surgeries that you performed? Can you tell us a little bit about this is a practice that you've really largely developed of performing, important surgeries to help save wildlife that have been victims of poaching. Have you performed the 30 surgeries that you mentioned?
Yeah, correct. So, we had to develop these methods and what we do to try and heal these animals right from the beginning. By trade, I'm actually an equine surgeon, so I do a lot of surgery on horses, and you had to rethink the whole system of how you perform these operations. Just to give you two examples. Now, the one is if you do any operation on a dog or a cat or a horse, you can do the operation today, and then you can go and you can check the animal tomorrow morning, or you can remove the bandage tomorrow morning, or you can give an antibiotic tomorrow or the day after or next week. With these wild animals, that's not possible, right? So you can immobilize them, so dart them, so that they kind of sleep, and then work on them. Probably the most you can do it is if you push it once a week, but every time you actually put that animal under anesthesia, there's a risk that they would die. So we would do it every 2 to 4 weeks. So the way we treat these animals, you had to rethink it, because if you bandage them, the bandage will have to stay on for 2 to 4 weeks, which is obviously quite a challenge, because these animals are not kept in stables or in cages. They, as you can see, they roam freely in the wild. So you had to make your bandage really strong to last 2 to 4 weeks. That's point one. Point two is these are really large animals, so the stuff you use on them must be really strong. And one serious challenge that we have, and that we still have with them, is that the thickness of their skins. If I look at a horse and I have to operate on a horse's face, I can tell you that skin is probably 2 to 3 millimeters thick, right? At least less than half a centimeter. If we go to these guys, their skin on their face is 3 centimeters thick. So that's extremely thick, and it's very dense. So that makes it very challenging to, for instance, put sutures in the skin. And we worked with people in the UK to develop a very certain special kind of needle to be able to penetrate the skin. But even then, it is still a challenge. So we had to overcome a lot of those kind of challenges in treating these animals, in casting them, in treating gunshot wounds, in suturing them. One challenge was, for instance, what kind of material do you put on them that will be fine in the wild as they walk here? Bandages per se are really a bit flabby, and they're not strong enough, especially if they walk. I mean, you guys can see here, for instance, a thorn tree. So if I suture something on top of him and he walks past a thorn tree, then a normal bandage, made of crepe or cotton wool will certainly come off. So eventually we decided that we will use skin, but leather. So we would go to a taxidermy of animals that have died naturally. And, that skin have been tanned. So it's really thick, it's lightweight, but it's pliable, but it's very strong. It's really like leather. And I would use that as a bandage to actually bandage them, or, to suture them and to cover the wound.
All right, very interesting. I want to give some of our students who are on the call with us today a chance to ask you their questions. We've had a chance to meet Seha, learn a little bit about Seha's story, certainly hear about your work and amazing efforts to help rehabilitate Seha and other animals. So I'm going to bring on one of our classrooms. I'm going to start with Stony Lane. Stony Lane, you all look like you're all ready to go. Hello, greetings. You are joining us today from New Jersey, and I hope that a brave student in the audience has a question that they would like to step up to the camera and ask Dr. Marais. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead. So we learned a little bit. We've been studying about rhinos, and here's your question.
Why do they rely on their sense of smell?
Okay, good question. They rely heavily on their sense of smell. From past research, it seems like black and white rhino cannot really see that well. So therefore, their other senses have to be heightened, and one is their sense of smell. So they heavily rely on that to use that in their normal day as they walk through the bush.
Can we ask one more?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Stand up.
Nico.
Go look at go stand up.
Nico, stand in front of the camera so you can see.
How are horses, zebras, and rhinos all related?
Okay, so they related and they classified, because they have 3 toes, especially a rhino. And we previously thought that rhinos and horses and zebra are very alike. And I think that comes from a research that was done quite a number of years ago, where they looked at the gastrointestinal system of a rhino compared to a horse. And if you look at that, that's probably 80% the same. However, we've done quite a lot of research over the last 10 years, and I can tell you that zebra and horses are very much alike. There's small differences, but they're very much the same. But comparing them to a rhino is completely different. So we've realized over the last 10 years that rhinos are unlike any other animal, and they should actually be in their own group almost. Their gastrointestinal system is about 80% the same as a horse. But if you look at everything else on a rhino, let's say the skin, let's say the sinuses in your face, let's look at the bone structure, like their joints and the actual bones they have and the muscles they have, and how they react to antibiotics and painkillers, then rhino are completely different and separate from rhino or zebra.
All right, excellent question, Stony Lane. Keep your
you.
questions in your mind. We'll come back to you in just a minute for a couple more questions. Let's go to Ms. Merrifield's class. I'd like to give you a chance to ask a question or two. So whenever you're ready, please.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Wait, do I just
Say your name and your question.
Okay. My name is Emma, and my question is, has a rhino ever woken up when it's in surgery?
Hi, Emma. Yeah, that's a very good question. So I'll just quickly tell you how it works. So when, let's for instance say I need to, sorry, it's just a tractor and we at the end of our winter season. So there's not much feeding in the bush, like the grass is almost finished and so on. So we actually give them a bit of extra feed now. So let me just quickly tell you how I work it. So if I have to actually work on Seha now or on any one of these rhino, I will use a combination of drugs, very strong drugs, which are highly dangerous to people. All right. To give you an idea, I will give Seha 0.2 milliliters. 0.2 milliliters. That's probably 2 drops. And that will make him sleep. If I spray any of that into my eyes or on an open wound, I have 5 minutes before I will die. So it's very dangerous. But anyhow, so that
In his eyes?
I would dart him with that. Okay. And then he will take about anything between 4 and 7 minutes, to go to sleep. But they don't really sleep. They're just what we call immobilized, but they can't run away. So we will blindfold them, because their eyes are still open, and we will put earmuffs, so that all sound is dampened. And then I have about 1 hour to work on him. The way I wake him up again is that I 1 hour. So the way that I would wake him up again is I use another drug, which I would then give him into a vein in his ear, and he will wake up completely within about, let's say, 2 minutes, right? Now, what I've done before is by mistake, I picked up and it was actually with him, where I picked up the wrong bottle. I didn't look what I was doing, and I pulled up the woke up medicine instead of other medicine, and I gave it to him, and I was still working on his face when suddenly he actually got up and he started chasing me. Luckily, the fence was not too far away, and I could jump onto the fence. But normally it doesn't happen. You have to give the wake up drug, and then they will wake up.
Great question, Emma. Thank you so much. Do you have another question from Ms. Merrifield's class?
Hi, my name is Chris, and my question is, how do you know when animals get poached?
How do we know? Sorry, Tim. What was that question?
Yes, that's a question. Do you want to repeat your question one more time for Dr. Marais?
How do you know when animals get poached?
Okay, that's a very good question. So if you don't have warning systems in place, you will not know, and you will only find out after a week or 2 weeks, or when the vultures will actually start circling in the sky, and you will pick up that there's something dead. So all the farms have got warning systems in place, and the 2 warning systems we use are the following. The first is we all have anti-poaching operations in place, which means there are people, and depend 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, it depends how large your farm is, which will patrol the area and the farm day and night. All right. And they will try and make sure that nobody enters the farm that shouldn't be there, first of all, and second of all, they will keep an eye on all the animals, or at least see a specific rhino every day, or at least every second day. Okay. But then we have a very good system in place as well, which we collar them. And it's a collar that goes around their ankle, so just above their foot. and it's an artificial intelligence collar. So what that collar does is at any time of the day or month or year, I can go on the internet and I can see exactly where my rhino is. Okay. Second of all, because it's an AI collar, what it does, it learns the behavior of the rhino. And the moment that his or her behavior changes, so like when he gets shot, or when there's people and he runs away, or he's just suddenly lies very quiet, like when they get shot, that collar actually sends a signal directly to my mobile phone, and it tells me that there's a problem. And then we normally send the APU, the anti-poaching unit, immediately to that place, and they go and look at that rhino. Sometimes it's just that two rhino are fighting, all that movement. The collar says this is not normal. We've had, for instance, when they lie very quietly, when it's a cow, giving birth, and the collar says, this is not normal. You're lying very quiet for very long. And we get there and she's actually having a baby. So, this collar learns all of that behavior, and, we don't mind if there's alarms that go off and we get there and it's a false alarm. But it tells us that the collars are working, the AI is working, and that hopefully never, but if there is a problem one day, that we can immediately respond when a rhino gets shot.
Excellent question. Thank you very much, Ms. Merrifield's class. We'll move you backstage just for a minute. We'll bring you back in just a moment for some more questions. Dr. Marais, while you were speaking, some smaller animals ran across the back of your screen, and I'm wondering what other living things you have roaming around you right now.
Okay, so we're going to quickly have a look. You'll see that there's little rascals here. We can't get rid of them. They are warthogs, so they love the food that we give Seha. And at the moment, there's probably about 12 around here. And you would see the guy would actually try and move them away, because otherwise, if 12 warthogs, go into that food that we feed him, it's quickly gone. And then he gets nothing. We don't mind them picking up the scraps afterwards. Because all of them are really good condition. I mean, they're not doing badly, but it's all little warthogs that that comes and visit.
Can I ask you just to turn your camera a little bit to, I think, your left, so we can get a good look at Seha as he's eating? You were telling us about sort of the traumatic event, obviously, that Seha suffered, and the work that you've done, and this is a chance to get a good look at Seha's face. The result of a lot of really hard work on the part of you and your team. But I think we can all see now very clearly that Seha has been through some awful events.
Yes, can you guys see him properly?
Yes, we can see him really well, and I'm going to take myself off screen so that Seha is the star. So we can just take a little look, and maybe you can tell us what we're looking at.
All right, so what you're looking at is, you can see where the red is. Now, the red is not blood. It is actually a spray that we spray on that wound that has healed about 80%. It will not heal more than that unless we do major surgery on him and try and cover it. But the problem is that we cannot cover that wound, because we cannot keep something on his face for long enough for it to heal, because of that thickness of his face. But what's happened there is, you guys can see, what you see in the middle there is actually his sinuses. So they've cut his horn right into his sinuses, and they've cut both horns off very much below where it grows from. So that was in 2016. And he will never grow a horn again, because they cut it off below the growth center. It's almost like cutting your nail really into the living tissue and damaging that tissue. So then your nail will also not grow again. But, having said that, I will not show you pictures of how he looked. He looked absolutely awful. What you see now is incredible. He's actually healed so well. He's a happy rhino. He eats well. You can see his condition. He's really fat. He's doing brilliantly well. He's got warthogs as mates. He's got other rhino as companions. There's more game like kudu and giraffe in this camp with him. So he's a very happy rhino. And the reason, one of the reasons why we did this is basically twofold. One is I wanted to know how bad, when a rhino is badly injured, up to what point can I actually save him? And I think over the last 13, 14 years, we have got clear markers of when I can save a rhino, if he's badly poached and when not. So that was point one. Point two is we started in 2008, guys, with approximately 22,000 rhino in South Africa in 2008. It's now 2025. We all estimate that we have about between 10 and 11,000 white rhino left. Okay, so that's that's half our population. And you should not only look at that, you should also look at, if we still were at 22,000 and we stayed there, the amount of babies that would have been born and the amount of rhino we would have had now with all the babies. So that's even, you can probably add another 5,000, to that number. So I think it's really important to try and save these animals. They're not near extinction, but, to lose half of your rhino population from 2008 to now, I think is extremely serious. And the International Rhino Foundation just published their State of the Rhino report, and it says that the only rhino species of all 5 species that are increasing at the moment is black rhino. So all the other rhino are still decreasing due to poaching. So it's really, really important to look after these animals, to save them and to protect them.
All right, thank you for all of that. And while we're talking about that, I want to put the URL for Saving the Survivors up on the screen for anyone who's interested in learning more about Saving the Survivors work. It's not just rhinos, it's all sorts of animals and wildlife throughout Africa. And you can go to the Saving the Survivors website and learn a lot more about Dr. Marais' work and his team's work, not only preventing or anticipating and preventing poaching incidents, but also responding in the way he just described. So we have time for some more student questions. And I want to bring Stony Lane back on to the screen. I think we may have some more questions. And
wow. Nico, can you ask, this is the question for, I know that you just said that we should go to the website, which we have gone to, but, where's the other question? Oh, I'm sorry, here it is. Nico, could you ask this one, please?
We are kids. What can we do to help rhinos?
Louder. Say it again.
What can we do to help rhinos?
As kids.
Right, as kids, I think there's 2 things basically that you guys can do. The one is to spread the word. It's really difficult, I think, for people to sit in Europe or in the US and to see what's going on in Africa. And it's not only rhino, it's rhino, it is pangolin, it is to a smaller extent elephant, it's reptiles, it's birds, it's our plant species, to try and actually read up, or let your teachers tell you about really what's going on currently, and how people are really decimating our natural heritage. And these animals don't belong to South Africans. These animals belong to everyone in the world. So does bears and reptiles and those lovely birds in South America and all those. Is to really teach yourselves to see what is currently going on in the world, where you can make a difference. Maybe you speak to your parents, maybe you speak to other people, maybe you have a small fundraiser, but just so that that everything is not hunky-dory across the world. And it's not only in Africa, guys. It's across the world. People are really plundering your and my natural heritage. And now I'm not even starting to talk about the seas and the oceans. There it's almost worse. And the reason why it's worse there, it's because you can't see what's being done. You can't see that there's overfishing. You can't see of all the oil and the pollution, that runs into the sea, that kills the fish and the mammals that are in the sea. So it's really important to be aware of that. And then second of all, you can do fundraising for a lot of organizations, NGOs across the world that protect the plants in South America, or the birds, or rhino and elephant in Africa, or wild dog, or lion. It doesn't matter. But as long as you know that this is happening, and at some stage you try and do something about it.
Thank you for that great question, Stony Lane. Do we have another, maybe one final question? We may get back to you again, but I want to give you a chance before we switch over for another question from Stony Lane, if there is one.
No, and I'm sorry, but we have to go.
That's
so
totally
appreciate
okay.
it.
Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Bye.
All right, let's bring it over to Miss Merrifield's class. I see a student who is all ready to go. So if you unmute yourself, we would love to hear your question.
My name is Naima, and my question is, do other animals besides rhinos and elephants get poached?
Hi, Naima. Yes. And a very good example of that is pangolin. Pangolin is it is the most trafficked animal in the world. So they don't necessarily poach pangolin, but they would, because pangolin can't really run away because they're so small, they would just grab them and they would sell them to Southeast Asia, and they would kill them to use their scales. But other animals, for instance, that are poached are bears, tigers in Asia, lions here with us, because they use the bones to try and make wine from it. So there are several other animals, that are being poached.
What do you do to help them?
Oh, it's very difficult. So you can't track everything all the time. So, what all of us try and do, Naima, is we try and have, first of all, very good fences. And the fences are not there to keep the animals in, but it's to keep people out. All right? So that they don't come in and steal pangolin or poach animals. And then second of all, we all try and have very, very good APUs. APU standing anti-poaching unit. So that's people that with guns that would patrol the farm or the reserve day and night and prevent people from coming in. And when there are people inside, is to catch them and to send them to jail.
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you for your question. All right, our next question asker, right?
Hi, my name is Maeve, and my question is, what rhino was the hardest to save?
That's a very, very good question. I would probably say it was Seha, and I would split it 50-50 between Seha. He is a kind of a favorite of mine, sorry. And then we had a female, because he's a male. We had a female that was very, very similar poach than him. Also, very large injury, and she was called Hope. And if you look at our website, you will see Hope. Hope unfortunately died naturally about probably 3-4 years after we saved her. She got an intestinal disease, and she died from that, which was very sad. But I think by far, Hope and Seha was the worst, or the most challenging.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Hi, my name is Margot, and I'm wondering why it's so important for a rhino's skin to be thick.
Yeah. You guys ask all the intelligent questions, I see. I actually don't know. And we have a theory, Margot, and that is that, when they have horns, those horns can be exceedingly sharp in the end. And I think if their skin is not that tough and that thick, that when they fight with each other, that horn, because that horn can become very long, that horn can be an easy 60-70 centimeters long and very sharp at the point, can easily.
Thank you for being patient.
He froze for just a minute. I think he'll come back.
Be patient. Take a pause.
He was right in the middle of your answer too. Let's give him a chance to reconnect. It's actually kind of amazing that Dr. Marais can be so far away from us and have such a great connection like we're having. So we'll give him a minute to come back. He may just have had a little blip with his connection. But what a wonderful question, and we will return to it as soon as he gets back, okay?
Okay.
Excellent. In the meantime, why don't we talk about how amazing it was to see Seha so close up? Did anybody in Miss Merrifield's class, did you see something that you found kind of interesting about that really interesting close-up of Seha that we saw?
Chris, what was interesting to you, hon?
How it kind of, how the area where her horns were posted kind of looked like an 8.
Oh, the shape of it.
It did. Yeah. Do you have a theory why it looks like an 8? Dr. Marais mentioned
2 horns.
Yes, exactly. That's something I didn't know about rhinos necessarily, that they had, this particular species has 2 horns. Very interesting. What else? Anything else?
Bennett, what did you find interesting?
What?
Oh, we're not asking questions. What did you find interesting?
Oh.
We'll come back to you. Naima?
I noticed that there was like a red spot above the horns that wasn't like
Oh, it appeared there was a red spot higher up
it
too?
was like kind of like a pinkish. It was like here.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I think you're right. And I can't wait to go back and look at the picture again on the recording of this live stream to take a closer look at that red spot and see if I see it too. Did you notice that that Dr. Marais was able to get really close to Seha when Seha was eating?
Yeah.
But when Seha wasn't eating, what was he doing? Yeah, he was like looking over his shoulder and making sure that he was maintaining a safe distance, because Seha and the other rhinos in the background for him today are wild animals. They one of my questions, and I hope he's able to come back, that I would like to ask is whether or not Seha remembers him for all the nice things that he's done to help Seha heal and live a happy life. Like, whether or not a rhinoceros and a human, a wonderful human like Dr. Marais, can be friends, like whether they recognize each other. Dr. Marais certainly recognizes Seha, right?
Yeah.
But I wonder if it's the other way around. Anybody think that Seha recognizes Dr. Marais when he's out
Raise your hand
nearby
if you think so.
Yeah.
as like
Pretty
a
unanimous.
friendly human, someone who helped him? I think it's possible, but we'll only know for sure when Dr. Marais comes back. And my guess is that something on his end happened to interrupt the live stream, which is totally fine. We got a chance to ask him a lot of questions today. And before we go, I just want to say hi to some of the other people who are joining today. We've got friends joining from Germany, from the UK, from Australia, certainly the United States, other students around the United States. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to wait maybe like another minute or two to see if Dr. Marais can restore his connection. But if he can't, that's okay. We got a chance to meet Seha today. We got a chance to ask him a bunch of our questions. And it was a pretty great event. I can't answer any of the questions for Dr. Marais that you have. He's really our expert and the one we want to ask. So we'll just wait another minute or so.
Tim, can I jump in while we're
Yes,
waiting?
Please.
Anyone on the Merrifield team hear something today that you found interesting, that you didn't know before, that you're like, whoa, that was really cool to be able to hear that? Haley, what did you hear, friend?
I heard that in 2008 there was 22,000 rhinos, and now that it's 2025, it's dropped to 10,000.
Yeah, isn't that amazingly sad? Is it a good thing that he's doing this project, Save the Survivors?
Yes.
Imagine where this population would be without that.
It would be like,
Yeah, and one of you someday, right, you're in 4th grade, one of you someday may say, you know what, I'd love to work with animals in the wild as well. You never know. What did you find fascinating?
how the warthogs eat rhino food.
You wouldn't have thought that, would you?
No.
Yeah. Chris, what did you find fascinating?
That he kind of said when they were showing
Seha, yep, you got it.
Seha eating, that it kind of sounded like he was saying that the warthogs and the rhinos got along.
Yeah, it kind of made it seem that way, didn't it? Anyone else that we have not heard your voice box vibrate? Let's go over here to Ronan. What amazed you?
That rhino skin is 3 centimeters thick. That's really thick.
That is
very thick. Like hold up your fingers for about 3 centimeters.
Whoa.
That's a very, very thick skin. And we heard a little bit about why Dr. Marais thinks it's that thick, but I'm not sure we know for sure.
Maybe it's to help it.
And we'll take just one more. Somebody else that heard something that you were like, whoa. Go ahead. Emma.
Poachers, like, take the growing spot out of the horn. Like,
Yeah, where they did the cut,
yeah.
and so it can't come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, sad, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a great observation. Miss Merrifield's class, you all are great. Thank you so much for sharing what you learned and what you found interesting today. I'm going to put up the link to the Reach the World page where you can see all of Dr. Marais' articles. And I know Dr. Marais is trying as hard as he can to get back online, and sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. But if he can't join us and if we have to wrap up before he pops back on, can we give him a big like wave and thank you? So when he watches a recording, he knows that we said goodbye without him.
Say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. This was so much fun. It was great to be with you all today. Miss Merrifield's class, I'll move you to the backstage. Thank you so much for joining today. It looks to me that Dr. Marais might just be having some trouble getting back online, and it happens. We had a great conversation with him today. So we'll wrap it up here. We are going to have more chances to talk with Dr. Marais, which is very exciting for me. So if today's event just sort of like got the juice is flowing in terms of questions you have about his work and about rhinoceroses and the other wild animals that he cares for throughout Africa. That's great. That's exactly where we want to be. You'll have a chance to ask them again. I hope you all go home today and tell your parents that you met an incredible rhinoceros at school and see what they say about that. You can even say you met some warthogs. Thank you to Dr. Marais and Seha for joining us and sharing your stories. This has been wonderful. Thank you again to the Infinite Safari Foundation for their support of this program. And last but certainly not least, keep checking the Saving the Survivor's Journey homepage for more articles. We have more to go. We're going to talk more about Dr. Marais and his efforts to protect these wonderful animals throughout Africa through Saving the Survivors. It's an incredible organization, and we can learn a lot more about them by visiting their webpage and just following him on this journey. So until next time, students, keep exploring. Thank you all for going on this Reach the World journey with us, and I will say goodbye for now. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.